So, good afternoon, everyone. And today we'll be discussing about structural engineering, that is, earthquake and its causes and its reflections. Okay. So, as per the GATE 2021 syllabus, we all know that structural engineering syllabus we know. So, section 2 is a structural engineering, and in that we'll be discussing today about earthquake. So, first we'll be discussing the what is earthquake and its causes and effects. So, earthquake, I know, I think everyone well known about the earthquake. What is earthquake? You know earthquake, what is an earthquake? Earthquake is nothing but the movement of the plates beneath the surface, and due to that, the energy stored in the crust, that is the plate, what are the energy stored? No, it will be transferred, it will be traveled in the form of waves. That waves will be receiving in the ground as a motions, that is called earthquakes. So, this is about earthquake explanation. Then we have to know how the earthquake is forming, what are the causes, what are the effects, and how the earthquakes it is traveling, the types of earthquakes, everything we will be discussing now. So first we will be discussing the causes. Okay, there are many causes for the earthquake. We will be discussing only the few major causes that occur in earthquakes. Okay, so first one is natural causes. So earthquakes are the result of slow moving process that operate within the earth. As we all know that earth is revolving around and tectonic plates beneath the surface. If there is a movement in the plates, we will be having a earthquakes. The energy which is stored in the crust surface will be traveling to the ground surface in the form of some waves, that is called seismic waves, right? And the energy which are receiving in the ground surface will be receiving in the form of motions and vibrations. So only we will be able to see the buildings and the what are the particles available above the surface will be shaken. And second, the earth is hot when it's formed, and it's been cooling since the formation. Okay, because of this alternate temperature, variation in the temperature, there will be heating and thawing of the tectonic plates. So that what will happen now? It will be creating a gap in between the plates, so that the plates, maybe movement of the plates will be occurring very soon. So the cooling the earth causes the portion of earth to move, and that movement we called as an earthquake. That movement is nothing but the plate movements, and we will be receiving this movement in the form of waves and vibrations. Okay, so I think are you clear about the natural causes? This is a natural occurrence of the earthquake. Okay, and some of the human errors, human man-made earthquakes also is there. That is dam and reservoirs. While we are constructing the dams or reservoirs, we will be constructing near the mountain areas, that is valleys nearby. In that we will be storing the huge amount of water. That is nearly it will be tons of liters of water will be storing in that. So what will happen? When we are storing the huge amount of the water, that is self weight will be huge. So automatically what happened? The surface below the water. Okay, either in dams or in reservoirs where we store the water. No, below the surface, it will it will obtain a huge amount of weight, huge amount of pressure will be acting upon the surface due to the liquids, that is water. So that what happens now, there will be a movement, slight movement in the plates. Here you can see in 2008 there has been an earthquake. You can see here there has been an earthquake, that is in China, that killed nearly 70,000 people. Okay, some of them are still believe that it is because of this dam nearby. It is Zipping View Dam. Also now also, I think you have heard a news recently, nearly 1 month or back. We have heard a news regarding China that one dam has been constructed. Because of that, the total Earth rotation speed has been reduced. So that is the weight of the overall weight of the dam will be too high. That is self weight will be too high to withstand, so that the plates will be movement will be there. Next, next type causes is groundwater extraction. This is common nowadays. We are doing for a lot of reasons, lot of purpose. It is taking the water out of the ground surface, so that what will happen? The water table will be dropping. See the same water table dropping in highness of the water table. What will happen? We'll be discussing in the next upcoming slides. If there is a too much of water, here no water groundwater extraction. When you are sucking out the too much of water from the ground surface, what will happen? It will create a dryness and it will be stabilizing the joints and faults. We all know ground surface consists of so much of joints and faults and fold. Okay, if you are taking the water from the ground surface and moisture is coming out, so automatically what happens? There will be a disturbance in the molecules between the soils, and there will be a disturbance in the movement of the faults. Okay, so automatically there will be a chance of an earthquake due to this extraction of groundwater. Okay, next geothermal power plants. Okay, so much of power stations, and either they are producing the electricity or whatever thing the operations they are doing. Due to those operations, no, they will be conducting a huge test, and also they will be constructing a huge structures in that power plants. Those structures will not be available in the anywhere. That is only in those areas that huge structures will be there, like silos, bunkers, huge amount of them. Because the waves from that stations will not be affecting the other areas, so they will be constructing the huge structures. And so much of research work, that is operations, they will be conducting there. Because of this, the weight and self weight and activity, it's bomb blast or whatever thing they are doing the inside, there will be a movement of this plates. Next, fracking and injection wells. So I think you all noting down this. Just take the hints. Okay, fracking and injection wells. When waste fluid, it is fracking fluid, like a textile waste or any chemical waste. Normally, what we have to do, we have to extract the waste from the impurities. That is, whatever the waste and impurities available in the water. Now we have to extract by some procedures and process, and then we have to treat the water, and we have to inject back in any other surface, right? Ground surface, or you have to leave it, right? But in some cases, in some areas, what they are doing now, they are injecting the same amount of water, whatever are coming out from the industries, with a lot of uh, impurities, chemicals. If they are injecting in the ground, that also not just like a normal injection. They will be like a deep grouting. They will be injecting too high, too deep. They will be injecting, so that what happens, the fluid will be moving travel, that is seepage will be occurring, that is it will be penetrating through the soil molecules. Okay, because it's a chemical particles, it will be moving through the soil particles, and it will be going inside the faults. So automatically what happens, there will be a causage of slipping the faults. That is, the fault will be moving from one place to another, either it is moving upward or downward or shear way, right or left. Okay, so these fracking and injection wells can be avoided. Similarly, thermal power plants groundwater extraction, dams and reservoirs. These type of human decisions for causing the earthquakes can be avoided. While in case in the natural causes, no, we can't avoid anything. If it occurs, we can monitor and we can reduce it. But these type of errors and earthquakes, no, we can avoid it. Okay. Next type is skyscrapers. This is the common thing nowadays. Skyscrapers nothing but high-rise buildings. Okay. So high-rise building, what will happen? They will be conducting numerous soil tests and numerous tests they will be conducting before that. And skyscrapers mostly will be having that G plus 20, 30 or more, or even more. So what happens? The self weight of the building will be too high. So that is reinforcement detail. That is what you are providing in those buildings compared to the conventional building, other buildings. The reinforcement will be higher. Concrete what we are using will be higher. So stresses what will be developing inside will be higher. So overall, if you are comparing that, overall that building will be too weight. Weight will be too high in case of self weight. So what happens automatically? It will be creating a pressure. It will be creating a pressure in the soil. There the foundation is laid. It is in rocks. If it is a sedimentary rock, okay, and stresses will be creating and will be causing the earthquake. Some slight earthquake, some minor errors. Okay. Next, the earthquake can be generally classified based on this causes that is a separate. We have discussed now. Man-made and natural. In case of the effects, the earthquake can be classified into primary and secondary based on the effect, how the intensity is there, how the effect will be there after the earthquake. Based on that, no, we can classify into primary and secondary effects. So primary effects. So these are nothing but these are the immediate damage caused by the earthquake. So what will happen now? Just you imagine, see, if an earthquake is occurring, just we will be assuming that we will be feeling the vibrations. How damage the earthquake has happened, how it effect it is happened, how we will be recognizing that by seeing the damage, how it intensity is there, right? So immediate damage caused by the earthquakes, that is collapsing of the building. So due to the movement of the earthquake, no. So normally not all the buildings are constructed using the earthquake loads. Generally, while we are designing a building, we will be designing the beams, columns, slabs, and whatever thing, structural members. We have to design for the loading patterns also. For dead load, live load, wind load we have to design, and earthquake load also is there. Not all the buildings are designed for these two. So we have to consider the earthquake load also, we have to consider the wind load also. Why we need to consider the sense? To avoid these type of effects. Okay. If an earthquake is occurring, the building is collapsing, because they didn't design the building, they didn't analyze the building for the earthquake or the wind load. It is lateral movement. Earthquake is nothing but the lateral movement. So that what happens, the building will be shaking in the to and from motion. Right? Next, roads. You can see the roads getting undulations will be there. There is a damage in the roads. And bridges. So bridges, what will happen now? The deck slab. Right? The deck slab. The deck slab will be nothing but where the vehicle is going through, where the movement is there. Movement of the way, movement of the where the transport is there. So in the deck slab, no, will be having a vibratory motion like this. In this shape, the bridge will be moving. That is, the deck slab will be having a vibration in this pattern. Even though abutment and piers and everything is there, the deck slab will be receiving the vibration and it will be creating a motion like this. For reducing this only, dampers are provided for primary effects, no? For this, especially bridges. I think everyone has seen the bridges in the roadways, right? In the roadside, in the highways or whatever the expressway, highways, we will be coming across the bridges. Anyone have noticed that bridge deck slab? That is the slab area where the vehicle's movement is there. In that slab, below that abutment is there. The joint of the slab and the abutment, there will be a, it is element called dampers. Okay, if not, from today you go and check the any bridges nearby you can find a dampers. Okay, dampers is nothing but it is used for the accepting, that is resisting the vibrations. In case any vibration, any earthquake is occurring now, just imagine what will happen. The vibration motion will be traveling from the ground surface and it will be going upwards to the abutments and piers. And after that, it will be traveling to the deck slab. And the slab will be having a movement like this motion. But what will happen now? If you are providing a dampers, suppose this is an bridges and this is a deck slab. Okay, this is the abutment. Dampers will be provided in this area. It will be like an black or brown color. They will be having a like a box, like an elastic materials. It will be there. It is nothing but it is an element used for observing the shocks, vibrations. Okay, whatever the vibrations traveling upward, it will be traveling here. Those vibrations will be observed by these dampers, so that it will not be transferring the vibration. So this damper providing everything will be seeing design will be, we can see in the next class. Next upcoming class will be designing these dampers, how to provide, what are the conditions is there, everything will be seeing in that. So coming back here, primary effects now. So this make these immediate effect, that is primary effect, will be causing the loss of damage to the peoples. Okay, and they will be suffering and so many things after the end it will be occurring. So the main effect will be collapsing of building if the building is not designed and constructed based on the earthquakes. So in case of bridges and the buildings, so earthquake load is too much necessary. Okay. Next, secondary effects. Okay, earthquake is occurring. It occurred. After the earthquake, what are the effects will be there? What are the effects you can see? What are the effects will be creating in the environment, creating in the surface? So primary effect will be having a collapse of buildings, damage of the roads and bridges. So in secondary effects now, we may have tsunamis when the earthquake is occurring in the sea areas. Soil liquefaction. This will be, we can see this detailing in the next upcoming slides now. In fire. And after the collapsing and healthcare will be not monitored properly, so there will be spreading of diseases and other things. Okay, then landslides will be occurring because not all the structures and all the soil surface are constructed near the retaining wall, or retaining walls are not constructed near that. I think you all know what is the retaining wall, right? Retaining wall. So retaining wall is nothing but it is a structure reinforced wall to avoid the soil erosion and landslide. So retaining wall construction and design is there separately. Okay. When you are traveling in the hilly areas, you can find the retaining walls constructed there. Generally, in retaining walls, they are constructed near the dams, reservoirs, or hilly areas to avoid the erosion, soil erosion, or landslide. So retaining wall, no, it is made of concrete, reinforced concrete. Okay, it will be stopping the movement of particles, that is soil surface. In retaining walls, we have so many types. Main type is cantilever, counterfort. Cantilever retaining wall, counterfort retaining wall. Okay. Even bridges, no, nowadays they are using the retaining wall panels. While you are going near the bridges, no, from the normal road to the bridge, there will be a transformation. There will be elevation is there, right? While we are traveling in a highway, bridge will be coming across, right? From the normal road, we will be going elevating to the bridges. So in the side of the bridges, we can see the panels of the retaining walls. So beneath the road surface, no, there will be lot of soil particles, it is lot of soils, rocks, everything they will be dumping inside for the covering the area. So these materials should not be falling down or should not be coming down. So the retaining walls, they will be in the side panel, they will be constructed there. Similarly, in the hilly areas or in dams and reservoirs, no, the water surface or the water particles, that water should not come inside the land areas. Soil particles not come inside the roads, highways in the hill areas. So they are retaining walls are constructed. So this is another important topic, retaining wall design. So note down that also. Okay, it is a special design consideration. So first we have told about the dampers, right? So dampers is a design is there. It is not exactly damper, earthquake construction buildings. And second, retaining walls. That also we will be seeing in the upcoming class. Okay, then fire. When the primary effect occurring, no, that is primary effect. When there is a collapse in the building, see here in this picture, we have a collapse in the building. So automatically, what happens? The gas pipelines or electric lines are inside. So there will be a short circuit or any accident occurs, errors will be occurring. So automatically there will be a chance of fire. Okay, this is the but fire, no, gas pipelines, so electric cables, as I told. Okay, so after the earthquake, so fire is a major criteria to prevent the okay. So fire is a major criteria to prevent the execution process, that is what we are going to rescue, no, that one it will be delaying, the firework will be delaying, and also it can be spread easily throughout the areas. So fire is also a major criteria in the secondary effects. So here you can see a case study when a fire occurred during an earthquake. So when the fire following an earthquake starts, it becomes difficult to extinguish. That is, it is difficult to control in the sense. So because there will be loss of water supply, and automatically there will be a chaos system. There will be loss of, what will be saying, too much of panic will be there, and everyone will be too much panic, right? So there will be a loss of water supply will be occurring and traffic jams will be occurring, right? In 1923, you can see a case study here, Kanto earthquake. That is, in that area, 50% of the Tokyo's houses, total houses, and 70% of the Kanto near area were burnt after an earthquake. So it is a half of the city. More than 1 lakh people have been killed only due to fire, not of the earthquake, only due to fire. Okay. Next, tsunami. So the earthquake which is occurring in the sea floor. So as I told, you can compare this here, no, in bridges. You can compare here also in tsunamis. So what happens, no? The sea surface is there. The sea surface is there. So if there is a lateral movement, okay, so automatically what happens? It will create an undulation, that is disturbance in the sea, the upper surface. So automatically there will be a rise and fall of the surface. So automatically it will create some, that is pressure will be too much of pressure will be acting here, too much of force will be occurring. So automatically there will be a huge disturbance in the sea surface. So it will create an earthquake, and tsunami will be followed. So here it is, sudden movement of the ocean floor. Okay. So when the water, no, the sea, while it is reaching the land surface, it will be reaching from 5 meters to 8 meters, even or more. We all know in 2004 it occurred in Tamil Nadu also. Right? It caused huge loss of human life, huge property loss, and total damage in the areas. It is mainly because of this earthquake occurring in the nearby place, in the sea areas. So what are the building, no, which are built in this area, coastal area, automatically it will be getting destroyed, that is collapsed. Okay. Next, ground failure. So it is also a secondary effect. So earthquake induced ground failure has been observed in the form of ground rupture, along with fault zone, landslide, and settlement and soil liquefaction. See, the soil liquefaction is major criteria in soil engineering, that is geotechnical. Okay. So when this ground rupture occurring in the fault zone, that is nothing but if it is a fault or anything is available in the ground surface, if there is some ground movement or anything occurs, the disturbance will be caused to nearly kilometers, hundreds of kilometers. Okay, that is if a land surface is there and a ground fault or anything is available below the ground surface, this fault will be extended to 100 kilometers or even lesser or more, because fault is a continuous one. So if anything occurring here, any movement, that movement also will be transferred to the total entire fault area. If it is the fault is or spread over 100 kilometer or 10 kilometer, then movement will be there also, then earthquake will be received there also. And ground displacement, whatever the displacing now, we can measure either in centimeters or meters, in horizontal direction and vertical direction. That is, in horizontal and vertical, we can measure the fault movement either in centimeter or even meters. So whatever the building above the fault area, it will be severely damaged. I think we all know the earthquake region zones, zone number 1 to 4. So if the fault area is nearby that area, near that zone, zone number 1 or zone 2, if an earthquake occurs, there will be a huge movement of fault area or ground movement. So automatically what happens now? The building which is above the ground surface, directly above the ground surface, it will suffer a huge damage. And this is in famines. As I told, the water supply will be cutting off. So everyone will be staying in a camps, or they will be staying in the some particular area for the restoration, right? So ultimately health monitoring will be less and can't control everyone. So automatically there will be a spread of diseases. Next is soil liquefaction. I will be giving some intro about this. What is soil liquefaction? So this is a major criteria in geotechnical, as I told. We have to consider this before constructing any structure in the soil. Okay, that is when the soil with a high water content are violently shaken, they lose their mechanical strength and behave like a fluid, so that buildings can literally sink. Okay, this is a very much important criteria. So you all know what happens if there is a flood or if it is a heavy raining area. Landslide will be occurring, right? When what happens in some areas, you have might known that the total entire building has gone inside the ground. You have noticed in the recent years, no? The entire building or entire structure has been gone into the ground. So what is the reason for that? There will be a soil liquefaction in those areas. If you are testing the soil in those areas, no, in those type of areas, the soil have too much of high water. That is, the porosity level, the permeability level of the soil will be too high. Okay. The soil liquefaction can occur in low density saturated sands of relatively uniform size. Okay, if the density is low of the uniform size, no, so automatically soil liquefaction occurs easily. So this liquefaction, this criteria, no, very much important while constructing the huge structures like dams, bridges, pipelines, whatever they are going to lay in the ground. Then heavy rise buildings generally will be, before we are laying our foundation, no, we will be having a soil test. At least in the area, we will be having a soil test. So in that, a soil liquefaction factor should be considered. Okay. So these are the effect of soil liquefaction. So you can see here, no, is in the first picture. See this area, right? So this is gone inwards. The total, this area, no, I have circled the area. That surface, no, it gone inwards. That is here the soil surface has low density. And you can see the second picture. See here, half of the building has been gone inside and it has been collapsed here. Okay. Next, ground shaking. The principal cause, main cause of the earthquake is ground shaking. As the earth vibrates, the buildings on the ground surface will respond to that vibration. That is, even if the ground surface starts vibrating, whatever the structure or thing available above the ground surface will be it will also respond to that vibration. So it will also automatically vibrate. Right? Earthquake induced accelerations, velocities, and displacements. Okay. So these are very much important in the degree of freedoms. While we are designing the earthquake structures now, we will be designing for earthquake loadings. In those areas, this displacement, this acceleration, this velocity, these factors will be considered. In addition to that, dampers will be considered. Okay, that is, we will be designing the single degree of freedom, multiple degree of freedom, okay, these two design will be discussing in all the buildings, in all the structures. So how much the acceleration is occurring, how much velocity is occurring in the movement of the building, how much the building has been displaced from the original position, whether the building has been displaced, no, whether it came back to the original position or it started to collapse. So everything will be analyzing and designing in the prayer itself. So those type of buildings what you are constructing now, they are earthquake resistant structures. So therefore, the effect of ground shaking on the buildings is a principal area of consideration in the design of earthquake resistant buildings. So whatever we are constructing now, we will be designing for earthquake load also nowadays, because everyone we are designing now, either you are designing or analyzing using the software or manual, we have to consider this earthquake load. Okay. The seismic design loads are extremely difficult to determine due to the random nature of the earthquake motions. Okay, that is, if you are constructing an G+4 apartment or G+3, you are going to analyze and design, right? We will be considering the numerous loading pattern. Live load will be considering, dead load, wind load, and everything will be considering. And for each parameter, no, live load how much we have to provide, dead load how much we have to provide, wind load how much we have to consider. Everything we can calculate, or at least we can do it based on the code books and based on the factors which is available in those areas. When coming to the earthquake load, no, based on the earthquake motion, that is intensity, the design should be there. That is, so only we have separated areas into 4 regions in all over India. Seismic zone 4, 3, 2, and 1. So this area will be having severe damage if earthquake occurs, moderate damage, and it will be creating a damage, and there will be no damage in these areas respectively, right? So if you're considering in the zone 4 area, if you're considering in building or structure, in those areas, no, we have to take a record of nearly 10 to 20 years record of earthquakes, how much intensities it is occurred, the average. We have to keep those records, and we have to consider those earthquake motions and earthquake design and everything, and we have to give the loading pattern here. Okay. So coming back detailing, we are going to discuss about liquefaction. So till now we have discussed about earthquake, its causes and the effects. Now we'll be discussing about liquefaction. So this is a deck slab. As I told, no, this area is called a deck slab. This is the abutments. These are bracings. Okay. So liquefaction. When the strength and stiffness of the soil is reduced due to earthquake shaking. So if the soil is there, if the moisture content of the soil is too much, water will happen automatically. If any structure or anything is available in the soil, automatically it will be sinking inside, or there will be a collapse of the building. Similarly, in the strength and stiffness, okay, of the soil is getting reduced. That is, porosity will be too much high in the soil. In those type of soil, permeability will be too high. The bonding between the two molecules of the soil, no, it will be less, and the gap between the molecules or soils, it will be too high. There will be too much of gap, so that the water will be entering inside the particles, and it will cause the liquefaction. So liquefaction occurs in saturated soils where the density will be low. So this is actually an liquefaction occurred in Niigata in 1964 and in Japan Kobe 1995. Okay, these two pictures. So this is another example. What will happen when the soil porosity is too high? The building will be getting sunken inside. Okay, so this will be the history that is already occurred in liquefaction during an earthquake in 1964. So you can see here, this is nearby a water-based area near to that, and this is the retaining walls. They construct the retaining walls, and water surface is there nearby area. Even though they provide the retaining walls also, you can see a damage in the road surface. So you can see here in the first picture now, these are the soil particles. You can see the gap in between the soil molecules, these particles. So automatically, if any water surface or moisture happens, so it will automatically penetrate through inside. Okay. So these are some examples of. See here, this is in the first picture now. This is a liquefaction in a railway track. You can see here, it will create a boilings in the soil surface. So whatever thing available above the ground surface now, it will be sunken inside, so it will create an void, it will create an boiling. So you can see here, this is an picture of before the earthquake, how this entire area was there. So here they have given a separate picture, right? Unconsolidated clay particles in the bootlegger cove clay. So it is an area in this area, no, they didn't even consolidate the clay. That is, clay is there without consolidation, and these are the buildings or structures which is located there. So once the earthquake occurs, no, this total thing became. There is a landslide. The total building total. Okay. So here also we can see a liquefaction. It is a cyclic mobility of the soil particles from one place to another. So you can see here damage of the buildings. These are some pictures already occurred due to earthquake and liquefaction. See here in this picture now we have an tank above the ground surface. The soil particles, you can see how that it is not a bonding together, right? There's a gap in between the soil particles, and because of this, if there is a structures, huge structures like silos or bunkers or any tank, storage tanks, if you're constructing there, it will start to overturn. That is a total. It will be like this, but it is starting to overturn because of this liquefaction, right? And you can see here how the bridge has been affected. And you can see the sand boiling. I told no before earthquake how it is, and after the earthquake, second picture, right? The total thing creates a void, and everything whatever available above the ground surface will be sucked inside. It will be going down the ground surface. So you can see the saturated layer here, sediment layer. So water saturated area, that is water moisture content is too much in those areas. So if any slight movement in the ground surface, what happens? Whatever the members structures available above the ground surface will be sunken. It is sunken inside. So we can provide so many remedial measures for this by creating a good foundation, good materials, earthquake resistant structures. We have to consider the design aids whatever they are given in the code books as per the highest standards. How the building construction should be there, how we have to construct, how not to construct, where the building should be located, where it should not be not located. So whatever things they have recommended, we have to consider those things and then we have to go for the design. Okay, then why is liquefaction dangerous? Because liquefaction occurs, what happens automatically, that buildings and the structures above the surface, it will start to collapse, either overturning or it will be sunken inside the ground surface. So the total entire structure will be going inside, or half of the structure will be going inside. So second, what do you need for the liquefaction to occur? Okay, not in all the ground surface liquefaction will be occurring. Not all the soil surface liquefaction will be occurring. Only the soil surface that is saturated, okay, with low density, mechanical property of that is too low, water content is too high, no. In those type of soil, when there is a movement of earthquake in those areas, the liquefaction will be occurring. Okay. So these are the effect and causes what we discussed today. The next classes now will be going for the design criteria of this earthquake resistant buildings as per the code book. Okay. If you have any doubt, you can find out your questions.